Hi, welcome to another episode of the Interstellar Business Show. This week we're going to be talking about the mind and mindfulness. We've got an expert who's a business and life coach, Sam Dossa, and I'm going to be talking to him about how we can better manage our minds and find ways to take care of ourselves, especially during these stressful times and even beyond these stressful times. And I think the mind is an asset, like a business asset and a life asset, that we too often neglect, and we don't really value it properly, and so we mistreat it, and so it becomes run down and doesn't work as well, which actually means we get worse results at work and after work. And so there's real value in learning how to better look after our minds. And actually you'll find if you do, for example, just giving yourself more breaks during the day, you'll actually be more productive anyway. It's a real false economy to just chain yourself to the desk and never step away and always just be thinking about business the whole time. So without further ado, let's get into this week's show with our expert guest, Sam Dossa.
Don't miss out on future episodes. Be sure to subscribe to our show and keep notifications on.
So I'm really happy to have on the day Sam Dossa, who's a life and business coach. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Andrew, for allowing me to be on your show.
Okay, brilliant. So before we came on air, we were talking about taking your dog for a walk. And actually, I'm just thinking that's a great way of getting yourself away from your business for a while and switching off.
Yes. It's starting. Everything has to start from a habit. And let me go back to this our childhood, the habit creation. And now, if you remember, when we used to be young and we used to wake up in the morning, first thing our mom or dad used to tell us, go brush your teeth. So that was a habit instilled in our head since the childhood. Now we wake up in the morning, first thing what we do, we go to the loo, brush our teeth. So that habit has been instilled in our body, our mind, our senses, and everything. Is again, when you are an entrepreneur, or whether you are an individual who is in this situation at this present moment, we were never anticipated that this is going to happen. Now we are in this situation. So how we overcome all those sort of things? Now I will say to a lot of people, look at the positivity of things. You have ample time to create some brilliant habits.
So just to interject just for a moment. So what we're talking about, because, in a year's time, people might listen to this podcast episode and it might not make much sense to them. So we're in the middle of this lockdown due to COVID-19, the coronavirus. And what Sam's referring to is the fact that we're used to having all these routines and habits and how we should take a fresh look. Is that right?
Absolutely. If you have to look at a fresh look, because now we have a lot of opportunities if one person look at it in the different periphery of their vision. Because if you right now, we are discussing this right now on this podcast, we took time out and we are having a chat together, and we are going to be talking about what is making you do what you do right now, Andrew. And you asked a similar question to me, why you are on my podcast and what are you going to be sharing with my audience. And my vision and my thought process is that, I'm blessed to be healthy and alive, and I'm in my house, and I'm healthy in terms of my thought process, my mind, and my body. My body is healthy, and my spirit is constantly reviving every morning to wake up in the morning, to take my dog for a walk, enjoying the weather outside. And the weather is started to open up very quickly now, as we are in sort of inside, and outside the weather is so beautiful.
So you're trying to say focus on these positive moments, is that right? Yes. That you can grab right now?
Absolutely. Every moment is coming in your life. Look at them or grab them with two hands, because these moments are so precious. Yeah, we might be on a completely different vibration, okay? I might be on a completely different vibration at this present moment. And there are a lot of people will be listening to this and say, well, Sam can be on different vibration, but I'm not on that vibration. To come out from that vibration is to look at what is is present in this moment at this time. Are you breathing? If you are breathing, you are healthy. If you can move your eyes, you can see things. If your senses are in place, that's the gratitude. Yeah. So it's the perspective how you can see things.
Gotcha. Yeah, I get that. That makes it's having a sense of perspective on where things are now, and how bad or good things are right now. And obviously, it's very easy, I suppose. We're in a very fear type situation right now, I suppose. Fear, scared, locked in, isolated. There's a lot of negative tones going on individually and through us as a community and society. So I guess it's easy to get overwhelmed by that. And I suppose, are you suggesting that if we concentrate on some of these small positives, like the sun coming up and that it's warm today, that gives us something to lock onto and to grasp onto? If we're looking at this huge cliff face right now of negativity, right, we need to grab on to something, right? And you're saying grab onto these small positive moments.
Absolutely. Now look at this way, okay? What is the source of more negativity? Is the media, or newspapers. We are reading the newspaper. We are listening to the news. There are a lot of going on around us. Where there is a positivity, how many people will attract to the positiveness when there is 100 of negativity around you? So you need to stop those things which is not actually helping you to look at the positive side of your things. Instead of we are indulge ourselves in those sort of type of things which is not very encouraging. We are going into more fear, because as soon as this all started, everybody started to become havoc in terms of what's going on. Let's people, I don't know why people start buying a lot of toilet rolls, and they have stack of toilet rolls, and then we started seeing a lot of stupid videos coming in, a lot of stupid those sort of things are coming in, people are laughing about it, and these are the things, I think is the pandemic started to creating a fear in people that what's going to happen. And again, if you look at people who says they are working from home, people who says they have no jobs, but now retail industry is hiring about, Co-op has hired about 5,000 people, Sainsbury's has hired about 15,000 people, Tesco has hired about 10,000 people. So jobs are there, but again, you and me are in a completely different vibration or completely different spectrum of things. And we look at things completely differently from other people who are thinking of, if I've lost a job, where are the other opportunities coming in?
Yeah, I think it's a complex situation, because I think it's a double whammy for some people in that regard, because suddenly the preschools and the nurseries and the schools are closed, and they've also lost their work, and so actually it's not actually possible for everyone to roll into some of this temporary work, because it just doesn't it doesn't work. So but I think we do need to try and be positive where we can be, because I think surrounding ourselves in negativity, it just creates a negative cycle, and that's it's actually going to make life harder for you. So if you're at home right now and you're having to look after your kids rather than work, if you're just thinking negatively about that situation, your kids are going to feed off that, and it's just going to drag things down. So you have to somehow try and find some positivity, even if it is just the sun's going out and you've been able to go out for a walk today. And just one thing I'd like to talk about just briefly before I go back, because this is a conversation rather than me just talking, is I think a way people can think about it is through goals, right? If you think about goals and think, is my goal to be depressed and stuck and not be able to change my circumstance, or is my goal in some way able to make my life better right now? Even if, for example, I woke up this morning and, I've been quite overwhelmed by a lot of stuff, but I woke up and actually read 30 pages in a book that I'd been wanting to read. And maybe that's the most, obviously doing this interview is great, but maybe that's my only other big positive thing that I get done in terms of personal or work development done today, but that's something.
Every small step takes you to the next level. If you are not going to take a step, let's say, for give you an example, we are in this as we said, you need to surround yourself with positive people. Now, right now, we also have social distancing right now, so you can't surround people who are. But we have a lot of avenues. We have so many things on coming in, which is positive. As you said, you read a book, and then somebody can watch a documentary. Well, we are so lucky. We are living in this century where we have information on our tips. On our tips. Yeah. If you go back and say, okay, we were living in 1950s, how would we have been survived in that sort of a scenario?
Yeah.
We would have been completely inside the four walls, and it would have been more crazier than anything else.
Yeah, I think we'd be dependent probably on the radio and the posters going up everywhere to tell people what to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be a very different situation. So I suppose it's about harnessing the technology for good and trying to avoid some of the negative consequences, like the 24-hour news cycle and like feeling like you need to check in all the time to find out what's going on when you don't, because nothing changes that quickly. So you really don't need to look at the news all the time. You could probably look at the news every couple of days and you would still have the same basic overall information that you would if you checked it every hour. So yeah. So we were discussing also before you came on how mindfulness is one of your key areas of expertise. Can you just explain, because I think I kind of understand what mindfulness is, like taking care of your mind. Is that right? Can you explain?
Well, mindfulness actually is a practice. Yeah, the practice where you sit, and this is going to be a ritual. Every day. You can't just say, I'm going to do a mindfulness one day and I'm not going to do another day. It has to become a practice every day. You need to decide upon how much time you want to give to that practice. Now, mindfulness is all about being mindful of things in terms of not that I have to do this chore, I have to do that chore, or I'm sitting very calmly and then you start to think, oh yeah, I haven't paid the bill, I need to pay the bill, oh, I haven't done that chore. So what happened is, during that period when we are sitting in sort of calming our mind started to talk a lot. That's what we call, a lot of people call that monkey mind. And people use that term as a monkey mind is chattering away a lot of things. Yeah, slowly and gradually. As I said, nothing is going to happen very quickly. Everything is a practice. And with mindfulness, what one person has to do is they have to decide one place where they are going to sit every day. Yeah. And they have to just breathe. A natural breathing. It's not about breathing out, breathing out. You can do those sort of things as well. But what happens is, with mindfulness, you just have to concentrate on one thing, and one thing is just to calm your mind down, calm it completely silent. Because what we teach is started to rejuvenate each and every senses of your body. So let's say, for one thing which we talk about, hearing, how you can enhance your hearing is all about when you sit in the calming place and trying to just focus on your hearing and listen to the sound outside and see, you will started to practice and you started to hear the minute sound, and you says, I never heard the sound before. I'm hearing it now, because my mind is just concentrating on the only one sense at the moment. So we developed slowly and gradually, and with the time, you started to know your five senses very, very well, that your self-awareness become your consciousness, and your consciousness become you, that you are aware of everything what is happening around you. A simple example over here is, when we are not mindful about our own self-awareness, what happens is we get really agitated, we get anxious, we get angry, we get a lot of things happening ourselves. And let's say, for example, we are driving on the road and somebody cuts us off. Our first impression is we show two fingers and we started swearing and all sorts of things. because we are completely unsettled within our mind. Our mind is so bogged down with a lot of things that we can't think straight. And we are human beings, yeah, because we are also wanted to reach to our destiny quickly as possible. But other person who have actually cut us off, we never know what was the situation with that person. It might be an emergency or something like that. But what we did actually, we started to have this moment of anger, moment of uncertainty, because we are also going through with our own self. So mindfulness brings that all things in a perspective, and you started to create a self-awareness discipline in you.
So, like one of the things that I was previously doing, which I'm not doing right now, but I hope to start again soon, is going for walks in the forest at lunchtime. So I was getting up early, working for like 4 or 5 hours, and then deliberately going somewhere and trying to empty my mind as much as possible and walking for an hour. Do you think that's a good kind of practice to do?
Absolutely, you are inside in the nature. You are surrounded with a completely different environment. Now, every sound have a vibration. So now, while you are in the park, while you're in the forest, what you are hearing birds chirping away. You are hearing the sound of the wind. That's what I said. When we sit down, sometimes you can hear the winds are making a whistles. Yeah. That requires a concentration, because when you start going every day, you started to hear those sort of things. And that has been practiced back in Sweden and Denmark, where the people have actually recorded all those sounds in the forest. And that's what you are doing. That's a brilliant practice. Area like you go into forest, or you are near the sea or the stream, or you are sitting in a garden where you can hear the sound of natural things. Yeah. And now the weather is shifting. Outdoors in the park, just because of this social distancing at the moment, try to do a time where you're seeing that nobody is going to be there now. There is possibility a lot of people will be there, but because of this new scenario, we have to be mindful of those things as well, how to protect ourselves. Yeah.
Sure, that's yeah. And I'm just thinking, and also and you're right, we people do have to think about what time they go, and you could get up earlier in the morning, get your kids up earlier and go for a walk earlier, or however you're going to do that so you miss the crowds. Just thinking about, again, a lot of people listening to this podcast, and they'll be like, this is great, okay, I get the point of going for a walk in nature, but it sounds a bit airy-fairy, you know, I'm this business person who believes in business results, and like, how does going for a walk for an hour actually help me in the office? How does it help my business get better? And I just wondered if you've got a response to that.
So our mind is running, and if we are a business entrepreneur, if we are in that sort of a mind, what happens is we are always constantly thinking how we are going to make more sales, or how my customer will be helped. But you always look for a new dimensions, a new directions. And if you're not going to still your mind, how are you going to get good avenues to serve your customer? If your mind is colluded, what's going to happen is you have no proper sleep, for example. Your food intake is not very good. You are not doing enough exercises. What your blood circulation is, the same blood is rolling in your body. Your mind is continuously taking the same blood. You are not actually looking at outside. You are always looking at what is already there. So what's going to happen is you are starting to get frustrated. Yeah. Making a decision, a new leadership and all people are started to looking into emotional intelligence. Why emotional intelligence is important? Because if you are self-aware of your own emotions, then you have to understand somebody else's emotion very clearly. Now the dynamics of a team, a leader and a member of the team works in a harmonious way if they understand each other's emotions in a different perspective. So you are my director, for example, Andrew. And you came to me and said, Sam, we have to deliver this project at this specific time period. Okay. Now, we were not anticipated this situation will happen, but now we are in this situation. How are we going to deliver that? But from your perspective, you think of, I need this to be delivered. But then you started to think of a movement, and it says, okay, now we are in this situation. How we make sure, or how better I will create an avenue for Sam to deliver that project successfully. And we will be praised by the customer that during this sort of a lockdown situation, we still managed to deliver that project, because Andrew understand is not going to be a possibility, but if I will open some channels for Sam to deliver that, he will be able to do that. But it will come to it will come back to same to you, how you look after yourself. If you are not going to be looking after yourself, you are not going to be looking at outside the box. You're always thinking of, oh, well, I've done this in previous role, it might work.
So you've got to, in a way, what we're talking about here is your mind and you are a business asset to your business, right? Absolutely. And probably your mind is something that you've been undervaluing. It doesn't go on the business sheet with the accountant at the end of the year, but actually it's the one of the most precious, if not the most precious tool in your business, because you're driving it forward. So if you don't take care of your mind, you're not going to be functioning, in your optimum capacity, both at work and at home as well.
So again, Andrew, we are looking at, we call it customer is always right, or customer is the king. But in certain scenario, we look at customer is not always right. Sometimes you need to lose those customers to gain more customers, because that's how it. But you're looking at how you're going to leverage. This word is a very dynamic word, leveraging, how you leverage on the area of your expertise. It's not about you are trying to say, okay, tomorrow I used to charge you £300, now I'm going to charge you £400. It doesn't work like that. Because what you want to do is what value you are putting in for your customers, what value you are putting in for your staff, the value added. What are the values you carry yourself? Are you a person who thinks that everything actually relates to money? Then what you are saying is that you only think of one thing, and one thing is money. You're not thinking about how other people think, how your customer feels, and that sort of things. You need to be aware of those things. And
so you're saying you're being more mindful about the entire situation, and so say all this mindfulness practice helps you be a more aware leader and entrepreneur as well.
Absolutely, because you open your awareness and you put yourself in that situation. Yeah. If I come to you and say, Andrew, listen, I have a scenario, I have a situation, I won't be able to deliver this task, and then you will open up and says, okay, Sam, come on, talk to me. What's happening? How can I help you to achieve that? Yeah. Instead of you are saying to your customer or your team members, no. It's going to affect your remuneration at the end of the year. Instead of giving them the sort of a threat, you just say, okay, talk to me. How can I help you?
Okay, so this is about being in a better, healthier position to help your business, because you're keeping yourself mentally fit as well. And also, one of the things I discovered from doing my walk every day at lunchtime was it rather than just like trying to slog through an entire day and take a minimal lunch break, actually taking a proper break to refresh your mind actually enables you to get more done. It's Absolutely. Like it's a false economy not to take a proper break and help your mind recover. And here's another thing: when you do that, you also allow your subconscious mind to work some complex things out that your conscious mind can't. So
and during the mindfulness exercise or during the mindfulness rituals, because once we started to settle our mind down. A lot of people sit down in terms of, as we said, goals. The goals are very important. Mindfulness will bring those things in a perspective of one individual or several individuals. It's the ritual of 5 to 10 minutes to 15 minutes. And we have 24 hours in a day. 860,000 seconds in a day. So you said you tell me that you don't have 15 minutes to just calm yourself down or just sit down and just say, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm just going to contemplate on myself instead of anybody else. But we don't take time out for that until we completely burn out, completely shattered ourselves. And then we go into a chronic recovery.
Yeah.
And then you say, oh, I remember those days, I used to burn out and I used to do that. But then still, we are not learning from those things which has happened.
No, I get, yeah, and I think that's important. I mean, I guess from an exercise point of view, if we just now think about the mind as a muscle, right? You don't run, well, most people won't run marathon after marathon without a warm up or warm down and time to rejuvenate and just sit in the, jacuzzi for a while or whatever it is to actually refresh and get your energy back. And I think that's the same kind of thing we need to do with our minds. You're using it all day long, trying to solve complex problems, trying to manage tricky situations or innovate and come up with new ways of doing things. At some point, you just need to switch off and give your mind, go, well, my mind deserves some time out now, really.
Yeah, because there are a lot of research has been done. There are a lot of papers has been written. There are a lot of because mindfulness has become is not what I call it. It's become supposed to become a ritual of every day. And we have introduced, my partner and myself has introduced into schools, for example. And my partner used to teach in the school, and she started doing this mindfulness exercise for the students. And what she has seen is, as you know, children are very hyperactive. Yeah. When we wake up in the morning, and my partner was doing this mindful exercises in the school, okay, and this has been Ofsted has actually recommended that for in 2019, saying that this practice needs to be initiated in all the schools. Because of the funds, nobody wants to do that, correct? So let's say, for example, in the morning, children wakes up, they've been fed any sort of a cereal, they are hyperactive. When we are trying to drag our children, come on, go to school. What's the situation at that time? Children are completely out of focus, completely in their own bubble. So when they come into the school or when they come into the class, what teacher has to do is, teacher has to just put a very soothing music and just say to the pupil, all the people, this is just calm yourself down. Calm yourself down just for 5 minutes. And my partner was doing it for almost 3 months. Children were craving for it. Oh, teacher, can we sit down for 5 minutes? Can we sit down? This ritual has to be done in the morning when the children comes into school. This needs to be done again after the lunch break, because lunch break is also hyperactive. So when they come back to in the class, settle them down for 5 minutes to 10 minutes. Once they are completely settled, then you start your lesson. And that's the ritual has to be practiced every day. And they have seen, schools, Ofsted have seen, and teacher has seen themselves that there is a really big dynamic happens after that when children are more connected. They are focused on things.
That's a really useful and relevant insight, because I think a lot of people with kids at home right now who trying to, manage with the challenge of having the kids jumping around and bouncing off the walls, that would be a great tip for them to use, really, to help calm down the kids down, especially when they're homeschooling as well. So you just put on some soothing music. So you just put on some soothing music and just get them to sit down and listen to it for 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5-10 minutes, easy. Just because what happened is, it's all about all together. Now it's togetherness. A lot of things. It means you sit together, show them this is a unit. We are sitting together. We are going to calming down ourselves, and again, every individual are different. If I say the habits, or what I call it, my schedule for a whole day is a different. In another family is completely different. My kids are teenagers. They go to sleep at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. They wake up at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So there is a completely different dynamics. I remember my time when my children were very young, and there was a completely different dynamics. So children used to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go to bed at 6 o'clock in the evening. So every family, every children are different, and we have to listen. The biggest thing during this, when we start practicing a lot of this mindfulness, you will start to have an awareness of listening. As I said, we have 5 senses. Each sense started to develop itself, and then we started to learn more and more about it.
So when you're doing this with the children, you sit down. You would sit down with them, put away all toys, and then just listen and just ask them to listen to it for 5 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And just, are there any other mindfulness things that people can be doing right now? Any like ideas for how they can do stuff indoors while they can't go outside?
Well, they can do it because everything is on their tip of their fingers at the moment, as I said. So putting a YouTube music, which is a binary music or a binary beats or something like that, which is a soothing music, or a music where is what you call it, a stream is running and you can see a green pasture behind it, and sort of so those are the music which they can just sit down and relax. During mindfulness, what happens is people will say you need to sit straight, and you have to sit straight because you need to make sure that your body is not slouchy, because if you slouch yourself, which means your blood circulation is not going up and down properly. Yeah, you have to sit for 5-10 minutes. You can sit straight on a chair or on the floor, cross your legs. If you are sitting on the chair, straight your legs so the circulation is clear. And for 10 minutes, just close your eyes. If you don't want to close your eyes, just view what you see on the screen, something to shift your mind to somewhere else. It's all about creating a visualization of something better in your life. You know, our body has this capacity to heal itself. But it's, again, if you believe that we are being given this different cells in our body, different hormones in our body, we can repair our body itself.
And here's another question for you. What about music then while we're working? Do you think music while people are working is a negative or positive?
It's a positive thing.
Okay.
I remember my daughter, she finished her, she's now studying in the university as a medical student. And my twins are just going to be going for the GCSE finals, but now everything is closed down because of that. But every time I used to have a discussion with this, how could you focus on your lessons when you are listening to the music? But Dad, you don't know. This is how we work. You know, we have to have something in our ears while we are focusing. And my daughter, touch wood, she had straight A's in her A levels. So she got an admission in the medical school. So you can't have a hyper music. You have to have a soothing music. But it's the choice of individual. What sort of music calms him down? Because, as he says, you know, music is the light to your soul. Yeah, and it feeds your soul with music. And again, this is the vibration. It's the vibration. When we say, okay, what sort of a vibration? One example I will share with you here about music. So music industry is a very big industry. So they have designed this fantastic song, and they do this testing in the studio, that with this song, with this music, this song is going to be number one. So they did all this trial inside, they did all this testing, and it came out as a number one on the show and everything like that. You can imagine that was done in the studio and everything. When they started putting on the radio station, people in split second, they were changing the station. They don't want to listen to that music. And they did their whole sort of research and everything. And they says, when your mind has been channeled with different frequency, And if something new comes in, it's very difficult to adjust. So people do not like that. When you hear a sort of a squeaky noise, or if you remember the modem noise when it used to happen in 1996 or 1990, around that time when we used to have a modem, we used to dial in to the ISP, and that squeaky noise and sort of thing, how that was cranky in our ears. So again, they actually thought that number one in the chart, it did not come in number one in the chart because nobody liked that music, because the music they actually thought it was the right thing. It was completely opposite. Nobody actually loved the music. This is that is the rubbish song, or that is the rubbish music I ever heard before. So music is light to your soul. So you need to listen which suits you better and which engage you.
And that's different for different people. I like listening to movie soundtracks, like big scores from movies. That's a good one for me to concentrate and not get too distracted by. So Sam, if people want to learn more about what you do, where can they find out more?
They can connect with me on all the social media. My social media name is Coach Sam UK. Best place to connect with me is on LinkedIn. So they can connect with me on LinkedIn. My website, samdossa.com, is under construction at the moment, as we got a lot of time. So I'm rejuvenating it again with some nice musics and nice videos and everything on that. So that's how they can connect with me. I'm happy to talk about this in more detail.
Brilliant. And there'll be show notes on the interstellar.media website as well with this, where the podcast player can be found. So thanks very much for coming on the show today, Sam. Really appreciate all your insights.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Andrew, for inviting me to be on your show, and I wish everybody a fantastic day.
Head to interstellar.show and find all the resources mentioned in today's episode. Plus, discover powerful training which will help you grow, work, and live smarter. Visit interstellar.show today and begin your adventure.
Thanks for tuning into this week's episode. I hope you got something out of it. I really did. Sam's a really interesting guy with very interesting ideas about how you can better take care of your mind. If you haven't already done so, then do hit the subscribe button or sign up with your email address if you're on the website. Or if you're on YouTube, leave a comment. Let us know what other guests you'd like us to feature on the show. Maybe you want to come on the show. So yeah, comment below and let us know, and we'll comment back for sure. Anyway, stay tuned for more upcoming episodes, and also watch this message.
Thanks for listening to the Interstellar Business Show. This podcast was sponsored by the Interstellar Report. Ready to discover the powerful forces that influence the success of leaders like you? Head to interstellar.report and grab this brilliant resource. A personalized report which reveals your strengths and weaknesses in 6 key areas. Visit interstellar.report and discover the insights, roadblocks, and opportunities you've been missing. Plus, get free personalized training that will help you grow, work, and live smarter. Go to interstellar.report today and start your adventure.